Netflix's show, Behind Her Eyes, did not earn its ending. Don't get me wrong, the show made a great first impression on me. The presentation was phenomenal, and it promised to be a show with many layers to it. Even if the story ended up being just a run-of-the-mill affair drama, it still would have been good in my opinion. What really got my attention was the supernatural elements. It definitely earned it and foreshadowed it nicely. It's rare when everything in a story makes perfect sense. The only thing that didn't make sense was Rob and the ending. Adele and Rob's flashback led us to believe that their relationship was genuine. They seemed to care about one another, especially Rob and his feelings for Adele. After they left rehab, it seemed that they had a promising future ahead of them. However, there was no reason to believe that Rob had it in him to kill Adele and that he would be obsessed with David. I think in order to earn its ending, we needed to see more scenes of Rob and David, and Rob and Adele, or just his internal thoughts. Because what we have right now, it just wasn't enough. Maybe we could see what those last pages in those journals were. When I was watching, I saw the twist coming, but I doubted it for a moment. I suspected it was supposed to be obvious that it was Rob. I first figured it out when it was shown that Adele and Rob both did heroin. There were so many scenes indicating it was Rob the whole time. The problem I had with the theory, though, was could Rob really kill his best friend in cold blood? We had no reason to doubt that the flashbacks were fake. They probably, I think, loved one another. I don't think hating your old life and finding your best friend's fiancé attractive is a good enough reason to kill someone you care about. When we finally get to see what happened that night, I assumed something was going to go wrong. They were going to swap bodies, but Adele would die, and Rob would panic. It still wouldn't explain Rob's obsession with David, but I was expecting that there was more to David than what we saw. And it turns out we were wrong. Like I said, I think we needed more scenes with Rob to understand who he was. What were in those last pages of the journal that we never got to see? As far as we could tell, he seemed to just be sad about his life, but not sad enough to kill his best friend. Also, the scene was so hard to believe. Let's go over Rob's plan. Step 1, get high. Step 2, hope Adele says yes to body swapping. Step 3, convince her to do it near the well. Step 4, despite having no idea how it works, do it all on the first swap. Step 5, hope that Adele can't move when she swaps. Step 6, bring the extra heroin to make her OD. Step 7, make up a bad excuse that could easily put her in jail. And then step 8, just hope it all works. Yeah, it's a little bit hard to believe. I think, just with a few simple tweaks, it could have easily made perfect sense and left a lot to the imagination. Make us wonder a little bit. For example, I think that it should have been Rob that showed her the trick. That would have a lot of implications. For example, maybe that wasn't Rob at all. It would also make it more believable that maybe Rob was priming her the whole time for this exact thing to happen. I think in order to get the obsession with David part to mix in, you would maybe have to make David be a therapist at the hospital at the time. Make it so be that David maybe had many sessions. That would kind of indicate that that one drug addict that came in who started really liking David would kind of have a nice parallel. Maybe that's what happened with Rob. He really liked David. And then maybe he knew that, he was dating one of his patients. Overall, I really enjoyed this show. I just kind of wish that the ending made more sense. Anyway, those are just my thoughts. I know people probably disagree, and I did enjoy it. I'm not saying it's bad. I just think that it could have had a much more satisfying ending. But what is everyone else's thoughts? Let me know.